Bill O'Reilly here, Tuesday, June 11th, 2019. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update, and here's what's happening today in America. Democratic frontrunner Joe Biden goes after President Trump in Iowa. Controversial legislation in New York could legalize prostitution. California votes to extend major health care benefits to illegal immigrants. Retired Boston Red Sox slugger David Ortiz shot in the back. The Supreme Court upholds a traditional American motto featured on nearly all of our currency. Also, I had my message of the day on life and death. But first, to the presidential campaign. Democratic frontrunner Joe Biden launching a series of attacks against Donald Trump in Iowa, saying the president fails the basic standard to be president. The former vice president is now predicting American voters will give Trump a, quote, thrashing in 2020. Polls show Biden currently leading his Democratic challengers by 7 points in the battleground state of Iowa. Controversial legislation making its way through New York State that would broadly legalize prostitution and other forms of, quote, sex work. The bill would make it legal to buy and sell sex acts under certain circumstances. If passed, New York would join Nevada as the only state in the USA where prostitution is legal. California Democrats agreed this week to extend welfare benefits to low-income illegal immigrants. The move will give undocumented workers access to Medicaid and other health care options. Price tag associated with the new program estimated to be $98 million per year. Retired Boston Red Sox legend David Big Pappy Ortiz shot in the back. On Sunday night, the slugger was in a Dominican Republic restaurant. He was gunned down. Police have a suspect, but no motive yet. The Boston Red Sox have flown Ortiz to Boston for medical treatment. He is expected to recover. The Supreme Court rejecting a group of atheist attempts to scrub the words "In God We Trust" from American currency. Refusing to hear arguments, the claim is an expression and an endorsement of religion by the U.S. government. The phrase was first put on American coins in 1864, then on paper bills in 1955 during the Cold War. Coming up, my message of the day on life and death. But first, hey, if you are 75 or older and if you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, please grab a pen and write this information down. Many Americans are making the decision to convert their life policy into cold, hard cash, giving them the money they need to pay off credit cards, medical bills, any number of things. Look, the economy's been good lately, but it can still be a struggle. Sometimes you need cash. It's completely understandable. The cash you may need could be in your life insurance policy. If you're over 75 and you have a life insurance policy of more than $100,000 or larger, write this number down. 844-WE-BUY-75. Totally free call. Get rid of those insurance premiums. Stop paying them. Consider turning that policy into cash. The number again, 844-WE-BUY-75. Please call 844-WEBUY-75. 844-WE-BUY-75. Call now. Brought to you by our sponsor, Life Guide Partners. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update, and here is my message of the day: life as we know it. When it comes to the subject of abortion, there is far too much talking and not nearly enough thinking. Terminating a fetus is a life-death decision that should be treated with grave concern for both the mother and the developing fetus, which contains human DNA upon conception. There are close to 1 million abortions every year in the USA. So what are the scientific facts involved with taking a life from the mother's womb and destroying it? The most important one is that no human being can know with certainty when life actually begins. Christian doctrine says that upon conception, a soul enters the cell mass, thereby making it a human being, a creation of God. Those who justify abortion reject that belief and embrace a variety of other standards for designating who is a human being. But again, there is no exact scientific definition here. That is a fact. Doctors in America are apparently siding with the life movement. According to recent studies, only 7% of obstetricians and gynecologists will perform abortions. However, you will not hear that statistic much from the American media, which has succeeded in framing the abortion life debate as good versus evil. But incredibly, the evil is on the pro-choice side. If you oppose abortion, you're a denier of female equality, a misogynist. If you do not subscribe to unfettered abortion, you're violating, quote, reproductive rights. Recently, Georgia, Alabama, and some other states passed new laws placing limits on aborting fetuses. In response, the CEO of the Disney Corporation, Robert Iger, threatened to deny Georgia all Disney film business. For this, Iger is being celebrated as a hero in Hollywood. In New York, where there was once limits on abortion, now there are none. The Roman Catholic governor, Andrew Cuomo, championed a new law that says abortion can take place at any time for any reason, right up till birth. Mr. Cuomo describes himself as a practicing Catholic, but acknowledges his enthusiasm for the very liberal abortion law in New York puts him at odds with his faith. Former Vice President Joe Biden, now running for president, is also caught up in the abortion war. For 43 years, Biden supported the Hyde Amendment, which bans the use of federal money for abortions outside of rape, incest, and permanent damage to the mother's health. But suddenly, Joe doesn't think the Hyde Amendment's fair. That's because the far left, which is driving the Democratic Party these days, has villainized every pro-life position, including the Hyde Amendment. So Joe is scared. He's also a Catholic. A humane society should be able to limit abortion while protecting mothers in dangerous circumstances. Abortion should not be a political issue used to demonize. Yes, American women have rights, but so too do developing cells that will shortly become human beings. If you deny that last statement, you might be accused of playing God. You don't know and I don't know when a human being becomes a human being. So shouldn't we all respect and promote life? That's what human rights are all about. Or am I wrong? For more news and analysis, please head on over to BillO'Reilly.com and check out the No Spin News and our other news features. Back after this. It's an uncertain world out there, you know that. Disaster can strike at any time. So you need to be prepared to protect yourself and your family. One way to do that is with freeze-dried food. It tastes good. It's healthy. Can be stored for 25 years. That's why I'm happy to tell you about a company I recommend, Wise Foods. You can never really know what tomorrow may bring, but you can have a peace of mind knowing that you'll be ready with all you need. Visit Wise Food Storage, one word, wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, and explore their starter kits and long-term emergency food options. They are even offering free shipping plus a big discount of 25% off for my listeners. So please go to wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, or you can call 855-269-0501. That's 855-269-0501. Now, the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. On June 11th, 1963, President John F. Kennedy publicly labeled racial segregation in the American South a, quote, morally repugnant institution, demanding lawmakers from both parties pass new legislation that would finally end decades of oppression against African Americans. JFK was assassinated in Texas, a deeply segregated state, just months later. But in 1964, President Lyndon Johnson would enact the most sweeping civil rights legislation in American history. There is no doubt that America today is a much more diverse place than it was back in 1963. But are we more or less segregated than we were 50 years ago? Recent studies show American cities are still largely segregated along racial lines. Detroit, Chicago, New York City, Washington, D.C., their efforts to integrate have mostly stalled. In San Francisco, the racial divide is actually worse than it was in 1970. Half a century after Johnson signed the Fair Housing Act, many American neighborhoods have changed very little. The passage of civil rights laws have both positive and negative effects on different communities. In 1960, just 23% of African American adults were high school graduates. Today, 83% of black students graduate high school. It's the same for colleges. Decades ago, only 3% of black Americans earned a college degree. Now that number, 20%. There are, however, some negative trends. In 1965, 24% of black infants were born to single mothers. That number is now approaching 80%. Studies show babies born into single-parent households for all ethnicities are twice as likely to live below the poverty line. However, progress has been made. Today, it's almost inconceivable that just 50 years ago it was illegal in vast sections of the country for black and white Americans to share schools, hotels, bars, hospitals, toilets, restaurants, parks, even water fountains. In America, we have overcome much racial prejudice, but now we must find smart solutions to end the cycle of African American poverty. We'll be back in a moment. Bill O'Reilly here, and I'll lay odds that the title and mortgage to your home just hit the hands of identity thieves. One of the largest real estate title companies in the world leaked hundreds of millions of homeowner files. And I'm betting documents about your home, including loans, mortgages, and bank accounts, are up for sale illegally internationally. And once thieves have them, they'll forge your home's title so it appears you sold your home. Then they'll borrow thousands from online lenders and stick you with the payments. I've seen this firsthand, and no identity theft program or insurance covers you. The first 30 days are crucial. So I got you 30 days of free title and mortgage protection from Home Title Lock. Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier around your home's online title to help block identity thieves. Register your address now to verify you're not already a victim and get 30 days of free protection. No obligation. Do it all online. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. 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 Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.